Hello, it's Tuesday the 28th of May and welcome to Korea 24. I'm your host, Kwon Jang-woo. The World Health Organization has officially included gaming disorder in its international list of diseases. We'll be talking to an expert from the WHO on that decision for our in-depth analysis, as well as a gaming professor in Seoul who's part of a committee in Korea opposing it. We've been speaking to the WHO's Director for the Management of Substance Abuse, Dr. Vladimir Pozniak. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Okay, let's now take a look at the other side of this issue. The WHO's decision was especially met badly with the gaming industry around the world. None more so in South Korea, which has one of the largest gaming industries in the world. A committee comprising of 88 organizations from games companies and academic circles issued a statement in Korea saying that this is a crisis for the entire Korean content industry. Joining me on the phone now is Professor Kim Jung-tae from the Video Game Department of Dongyang University, one of the organizations in that committee. Professor Kim, thank you for making the time to speak to us today.
Thank you for having me.
So the WHO have decided to include gaming disorder in their international list of diseases. The first question I want to ask you, though, first is, does gaming addiction exist?
It's a tricky question. Actually, game addiction is a kind of a metaphor, which is an overindulgence phenomenon, like too much love gaming symptom. This symptom is partly manifested in the children of the vulnerable class. Now, the treatment of those children is also possible in the existing system. However, WHO regards this symptom as gaming disorder. WHO defines gaming disorder as a pattern of behavior characterized by impaired control over gaming, etc. But this is very ambiguous. We can change it to other words instead of gaming, like SNS, shopping, watching TV or YouTube, like that. So, WHO's decision is very inappropriate. They should not transfer responsibility for social structural issues to the game.
Right, so you're saying gaming disorder could apply to other things, such as you said, watching TV or other activities. Okay, so let's look at this, what impact this could have for the gaming industry and abroad. I mean, what impacts would come from labeling gaming disorder as a disease?
First of all, gamers become potential patients, and game designers, programmers, and game artists become disease makers. Like the game is branded as bad things. It's a stigma. Though it will run in earnest from 2026, exhaustive debate has already begun. After all, the frustrated game developers will out of the way. Already, the game industry starts to shrink. Game companies will try to find out other industry for survival. Then, game jobs are shrinking and affecting all kinds of youth jobs. Worse still, it will also have a negative impact on information technology industry, and it could also seriously damage the Korean economy. We still have to think about the nightmare that game shutdown laws have ruined. As the shutdown law went into effect in 2011, many game companies and even game schools were shutting down. In the worst case, the addiction taxation issue for the game disease code can be realized. In the end, it will completely ruin the game ecosystem.
But the WHO's decision is not made lightly. I mean, what are some of the medical arguments that your committee is making against including gaming disorder as a disease? Medical arguments.
Medically, it has not yet been proven. There is no medical data yet, so there is no clear criteria to classify it as a disease. The more authoritative addiction clinic than the WHO, like the American Psychiatric Association, they reserve the introduction itself and categorize the game as caffeine, along with further study in the future. Why are they trying to hurry this up in Korea?
Right, so you're saying there are both sides of the argument here, both sides of the medical argument. Your committee statement also says, "We regret that we were unable to enhance the image of gaming in the minds of the general public." So that raises the question, should the gaming industry have done more to tackle this issue before?
Actually, we, Game Disease Code Committee, regret not reacting shortly and actively. We had to work harder on scientific and medical research, so we should have made reasonable data fully. But anyway, we should have informed to parents and students about how to use the game right way. We had to encourage and support serious game art form, and gamification. Gamification is converging technology of game design elements and principles in non-game context. However, academic researchers alone have limitations. So game players, industry, and the government support is urgent. The responsibility of this situation is due to the absence of a game-dedicated organization with more systemic strategies. Even now, we have to launch a game-focused agency and actively respond to the game disease code.
Okay, so is that what you're going to do now? I mean, now that the WHO's decision has been made, how do you and the committee plan to move forward? What's going to happen next?
I'll ask question, who is the biggest beneficiary of this WHO codification? Last year at the National Assembly, the Minister of Health and Welfare announced that the disease code would be introduced if WHO categorized. As soon as the WHO formulates the game disease code classification, the Welfare Ministry is in the process of forming a consultative body. It is overspeeding. Our first goal is to prevent the speeding of this ministry and the pros. At the same time, we will continue to develop game campaigns of right function for the general public, and game researchers and companies should also be able to establish countermeasures against the excessive gameplay patterns. Gamification movement can be also a good alternative.
Interesting. Well, thank you for speaking to us today, Professor Kim Jung-tae from the Video Game Department of Dongyang University.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome to the Korea 24 Stock and Forex Update. The benchmark Korea Composite Stock Price Index gained 4.62 points or 0.23% on Tuesday.